But I remember being at a party and a kid held a gun to my head for the first time. And it was so dark where I was. I just told him, I said, do you want me to pull the trigger for you?
Let's be honest about recovery.
The rewards, the challenges.
Let's talk about our failures. We are flawed people, after all.
Let's challenge the stigmas that weigh us down.
Because while most of us are looked at,
few of us are seen.
Let's talk about addiction.
And how Christ overcomes our weaknesses.
Because we are loved.
because we are loved.
Because we are loved.
We are loved.
We are
Because
loved.
we are loved.
Hi, my name is Nicole. I'm 47 years old and I'm from Gulfport. I had a rough childhood and ended up in addiction, and then God saved my life.
Welcome back to Jesus Loves Addicts. Thanks for being here. So today we have, as I always say, another story of a God story, right? Another story of redemption and grace. Today we have Miss Nicole Dutruch. Dutruch. Yay. Now my last name's Del Giudice, so I'm forgiven by struggling with names because I've lived with that.
Absolutely.
When I met you, I waited for you to say it before I would say it.
Well, I usually let people struggle with it a couple times just for humor's sake, but we are diverting here. So Nicole comes to us, as she said, having spent most of her life in addiction. So I'm kind of curious to hear where that starts for you. And you mentioned in your intro that your childhood was somewhat rough. But before we get there, what does most of your life mean? When, just as a brief, how many years were you caught up in your addiction?
From age 18 to, what am I now? 47. So 2023. So 43, 44 years
30
old.
years ago.
You look really good for 47. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I just
Thank
want to throw
you.
that out there.
Well, in 18, I hate that I'm about to say what I'm about to say, but I hate it because it's true. That's kind of late now for a lot of people to get into their addiction. So I'm very curious to see how, because you talked about a traumatic childhood in your upbringing, kind of curious to see how that manifested prior to the drugs and alcohol. So tell us a little bit about where it starts.
Yeah.
The childhood.
I was born late in life to my parents. They were 41 and 40 when they had me. And so I had a fairly normal upbringing. So I thought.
Were you an only child?
I am the only child of my mom. My dad has two older children by a different marriage. And I didn't grow up with them, so I was basically an only child. My parents were older, and I was the only child in their group of friends. Their children had children. It was... I didn't have a lot of kids my age, so I was in a lot of conversations and a lot of places that I didn't need to be.
And didn't know that you didn't need to be.
And didn't know that I didn't need to be there. My mom was also, she didn't have any kids. She was very, she didn't know what to do with me. She'd stick me in front of a TV. And I would be watching stuff at ages that I didn't need to be watching. Yeah. So I was very advanced in my knowledge of things.
Of the darker side of the world.
Of the darker side. Yeah. And I got real good at a very young age at blocking things out. So a lot of things I didn't remember until I was older.
Oh, wow.
Basic stuff. We had a couple of staying at a friend's house and the older brother kind of situations. Yeah. And
so let me pause. Are you talking about kind of sexual assault?
Molestation. Okay. And then I had a cousin who was the same age as me, a girl. Okay. And she was being molested, and then she in turn we were playing house.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Sure. So there was a lot of stuff there that I would have never even thought was something wrong with that.
But not really basic stuff, right?
Right.
I mean, that's really sad and you really describe a world, again, I like how you put it, you were exposed to things very early that at that age, and really, I mean, no age should we be exposed to abuse.
Right.
But just, what a horrible awakening to certain things.
Right.
Well, and you said when you labeled it, you called it playing house, and I've talked with a lot of people, and it was a lot more common than it ever should be, and a lot of it came
and
from,
nobody even thought it was wrong. You know what I mean?
Kids were playing house
because they were kids,
because they were mimicking what they were seeing, not only in their households but the stories. You would go to your grandmother's aunts' houses, and they're watching the stories and One Life to Live and all of it. That's
yeah.
So how old were you when that?
I was probably maybe 4.
Oh, wow.
When the cousin thing happened. And that was my only person who was my age. She's 9 months older than me. Yeah. And so we were more like siblings.
Yeah.
So all of our time that we could spend together, we were together, which was probably good for her. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have a lot of... I disassociated a lot of things, and I didn't even know what that meant until I got older and in therapy, So
there is, when you talk about dissociation, there is a sense, and I know what you mean, right? When we're raised in chaos, that gets normalized. We don't really see that as, we don't know what right or wrong is. Right. It's just normal to us. But there is almost an innate sense of right and wrong, and that's why we dissociate, right? Mm-hmm. It's obviously something traumatic. It's obviously something in your psyche said, this, I don't want to think about this.
Right. Mm-hmm. I don't want to know this.
Right.
Yeah.
How old were you when the older brothers of friends thing?
I'd say that was probably around 10 or 11.
Okay, so
yeah, and again, same me, and then also my cousin, and we were staying at a friend's house that lived down the road from me, and we had been over there several times, and I blocked it out, and then she brought it up, and then it kind of went from there. Then it was like God started showing me.
She brought it up in adulthood?
Yeah, in adulthood. We both did, because she started seeing a therapist, and it was like it resurfaced it for both of us. So then we both had to work through that kind of thing. Yeah. And so by like age 12, we're smoking cigarettes. You know what I mean? We're stealing her mom's cigarettes or whatever. And then we're stealing the beer and stuff like that. And that's
so at 12, you're already introduced to beer?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. My parents and them like to drink and stuff like that. So
I was going to ask you, so I get that the peers became an issue. There were some things there. What was the relationship to your parents during this time? Were you close? Was there...
My dad was never around. Mm-hmm. He worked out of town. Him and my mom did not have a close relationship. Like you would see parents loving and stuff like that. That it wasn't like that. He would come home on the weekends occasionally, but my dad was a really big drinker at one time, and that was what they did on the weekends. He would come home and they would do whatever, hang out. Everybody came over, and it was a lot of...
Yours was the gathering house for them.
The drinking and stuff. And if not, whoever's house we were going to, it was going to be exactly like that.
Well, and if that's all it is your normal. What I was wondering, was there any violence? Were they more like roommates, like friends?
Yep, exactly.
So were you just another friend?
You know what I mean? I didn't have any... You shouldn't be that age and feel that you can't trust somebody to tell them.
Yeah.
So that feeling of love and like connection or the trust, I didn't have that. So I bottled everything, all of it, all of the years, until it caught up with me. You know what I mean?
So was mom also a drinker?
No, mom was never a drinker.
Okay. Not even on the weekends, like during... She was sober?
Yeah, she was sober. Okay. She had a lot of health problems, so that probably...
kept her from drinking.
Yeah, but then again, for her having all the health problems, I took care of her my whole... You know what I mean? For my whole life almost.
Were you the parent in the household?
I feel like I was the parent.
I really was fixing to ask that. Yeah.
So ever since I was little, I've been the parent. Take care of everybody. You know what I mean? Like, and that even is a codependency.
It is. And it also, it goes into your friendships and relationships.
Oh, yeah. With my children,
savior.
super codependent on my children. Super codependent on my children for the longest time. Because, like, what if something happens to them? What if something that happened to me happens to them? You know what I mean? Like, that's just, which, you know, there's a little bit of that in parenting anyway. But, yes,
but it
super
is
like more wanting, are you okay? Be your friend. Are you know what I mean? Instead of, because I'm scared that something's going to happen to you, like it did to me, because I know where I went when I didn't feel loved.
Absolutely. And when we're aware, we want to protect them. Absolutely. What about, do you feel like a part of you wanted to be their friend or at least have that sense of connection, even if you didn't know how to go about getting it, that you knew that you didn't have?
Oh, for sure. And growing up, you know, I was always the odd kid. I had freckles, you know, I was a little bit chubbier than everybody else. So it was always trying to fit, like fit in my family, fit at school.
And
like everything was fitting. Yeah.
But you didn't.
And I didn't fit. But what I did was camouflage.
Was that a source of ridicule? Were you teased? Was it?
Oh yeah, for sure. You know, I wasn't as pretty as the other girls, or you know, as skinny as the other girls. Yeah, kids are mean. They are mean, and that's a shame. You know, because they all struggle with the same thing. But I got picked on a lot, and then that guard is up too, because now I don't feel like I belong anywhere. But I'm gonna do whatever I have to do to belong there. And that kind of stemmed everything in my life. Everything revolved around that, trying to fit in and being who everybody else wanted me to be.
Which, you know, peer pressure.
It's wanting to feel like I'm enough somewhere.
Right. Yeah.
And peer pressure is a big enough thing anyway at that age. And now when you have this heightened sense of needing to fit in, boy, you're just, you know, a setup for falling to the slightest of peer pressure, right? Because there is no sense of resistance. It's, I need to fit in. And so,
And at that point, any attention was attention.
Yes, right.
You know, any kind of a negative attention from my parents, or, you know, good attention from somebody else because I'm doing things that I, you know, whatever.
And if it is good, I will do whatever I need to do to repeat that experience. Yeah.
And so that, along with the, you know, starting to drink, and then I tried weed, and then I think I was 13, almost 14 years old when I lost my virginity. Yeah. And then from that day, it snowballed. You know what I mean? Like, it was everybody for attention.
Or I was going to say, did that immediately become an attention
and
thing?
I don't know if it's because I didn't know what real love looked like, or the starvation for the attention part. You know what I mean? But it put me in a position, and it was like I couldn't get out of it. Yeah. You know what I mean? You're already this far.
You're already in it, but also nobody was showing you that you could get out of it. And you've already said you shielded, so you weren't talking, you weren't communicating about it.
No. And I was living a very adult mind, like I'm trying to live out that movie, right? I was living an adult because I was too knowledgeable of life at my age. So, like, I'm living like an adult.
Well, because you had lost innocence a long time ago.
It was gone. And so I think I was maybe 15 years old. Yeah. And I was in some dark places that no teenager needs to be. You know what I mean?
What does that mean?
Just, you know, hanging out with gang members and we're doing things. We're around guns. We're around, you know, alcohol. Now, drugs were not real big then. I don't know, maybe if they weren't like, you know, they were still kids too. You know what I mean? But I remember being at a party and a kid held a gun to my head for the first time. And I was so dark where I was. I just told him, I said, do you want me to pull the trigger for you? Do do it.
Yeah, just
like that's where I was at.
Yeah.
And then that is where I feel like my mental battles and struggles got really, really dark.
Can I ask you a question? Because
sure.
That to me was a little unexpected. The gang, not everybody that uses drugs. I mean, drugs and alcohol, without a doubt, victimize you. It will go downhill, but not everybody finds their way to gangs and stuff. What was your introduction to that? Was that just your peer? Did that just happen to be the folks in your neighborhood?
Yeah, it like I would fit in different little, little groups.
Yeah.
And somehow, I had camouflaged my way into that one. And I don't know if it was this sense of like, lawlessness or something, you're like hanging with that really, risky. For sure. Yeah. And, but then again, who are these kids getting it from? So now we're in a whole age group of mixed, amounts of people. Right. And so now I'm hanging with these not so good kids. Right.
Yeah. And adults, it sounds like.
Well, yeah. And then that comes, what do you expect then?
Yeah.
Anything can happen.
Yeah.
So I went with a friend of mine who was dating a guy, and we went to his uncle's apartment, and who's left alone with the uncle?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so at this point, because I've brought myself to where I have with sleeping with all of these guys, in my mind, A, who's going to believe you? B, who you going to tell? You weren't supposed to be there in the first place.
I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
So
I
you're
never
saying
told
that
anybody
you sort of
anything. I kept everything secret.
But when it comes to a legitimate victimization, like the uncle or somebody adult, you're saying because I now have this reputation,
I've convinced myself.
I can't accuse anybody because nobody will believe me.
Right. I've accused myself.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he said that to me. Like I've convinced myself now that is how it's going to be.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
I'd like to take a moment to recognize a major podcast sponsor. Today's episode is brought to you by America's Thrift Stores, your go-to option for decluttering and giving back. If you have a closet bursting at the seams or a garage that's seen better days, we've got the perfect solution for you.
That's right. America's Thrift Stores makes it easy to clear out the clutter and make a positive impact in your community. Whether you're cleaning out your wardrobe, downsizing your living space, or just looking to give back, America's Thrift Stores has you covered.
And here's the best part. You've got options. Schedule a hassle-free home pickup, drop off your items at one of their convenient donation sites, or swing by an America's Thrift Store to donate in person. No matter which way you choose, you're making a difference.
Absolutely. Every donation you make to America's Thrift Stores directly benefits charities in your area, such as the Home of Grace and other fantastic organizations dedicated to helping those in need.
For example, donations made to America's Thrift Stores in southern Mississippi help the Home of Grace provide support and assistance to individuals facing drug and alcohol addiction. Your contributions make a real impact on their mission to provide freedom from addiction through Christ-centered recovery. So not only are you decluttering your life, but you're also helping build a stronger and more supportive community.
It's truly a double blessing. So what are you waiting for? Clean out that closet, clear out that garage, and make a positive difference in your community by donating to America's Thrift Stores.
Visit America's Thrift Stores online to schedule a home pickup, locate a donation site near you, or get directions to one of their store locations.
America's Thrift Stores, where giving back never goes out of style. It goes back to a root of a lack of self-worth. Almost that, what more did I expect? And now I'm blaming myself.
Yeah.
And you were still.
I thought that was normal, though.
Yeah. Well,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. That's interesting. I hear people say that all the time, and that is true. There's an element of that. That's true. I think, too, we don't even think in terms of normal or abnormal at that age. We're just on autopilot, right?
Yeah.
And this is where I'm ricocheting into at the time. And
fight or flight, I feel like I was in all the time. Because you got to decide right now what you're going to do. What are you going to say to this person and all that? And it was just constant.
Well, we haven't learned to live proactively yet. We're just reacting to life and just bouncing off of bumpers. At this point, has there been any introduction to God at this point? Was there anybody in your life? Was there even a pretentious version of that?
One aunt. My family didn't talk about God. My dad had went to church in his first marriage, and there was some church hurt there. So we didn't talk about, you prayed, but it was, you're now lay me down to sleep or, something like that. But I had this one aunt, and she lived right across the street, and it was my dad's oldest sister, and she was faithful. And she would always take me to church, But then on the other side of my family with the cousin, we went to her grandfather's church through the man who was actually molesting her. It was his father. And so we go to church, and sure enough, I don't remember that because, it was traumatic too, I'm sure. Because we both blocked that whole part out too.
Yeah.
So there's probably some underlying, I had underlying anger probably towards God from a very young age.
Yeah, it's so sad. I was about to say thank God for the sowers, and indeed thank God for them. But, church is just a microcosm of the world outside of it, right? I mean, it's different, hopefully, in the sense for those who take it seriously that they are pursuing God, but it is not a safe haven. It's still full of broken people, and what a horrible experience for young people who haven't figured that out yet, right? They think that the church is the protection, but it's not. Jesus himself is the protection. There are a lot of bad people in churches, right? And unfortunately, you got to see both sides of that equation. Yeah.
But I feel like I can remember, like I never knew about God, but I knew I wanted to know about him.
Yeah.
Like I would buy prayer books, like I would buy all of these different kinds of books. And, but nobody introduced me to the Bible.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They had a Bible.
Yeah.
We didn't ever use it. And we didn't pray together or pray in general.
So even at this point in your story, though, there's this curiosity that you're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
That's interesting.
I've always felt drawn to something else. You know what I mean?
I think that's in us by divine appointment.
I always say I've been running and searching and everything to fill this hole. Yeah. And the whole time it was for Jesus.
Amen. Yeah, amen. Well, okay. So
I have one question.
Yeah.
Well, because I don't think we meant to, but you're a teenager. You're now in a situation that someone has held a gun to your head. And we all say, I don't know how I will react until, we're in that situation. I doubt that you expected to be like, what are you going to do?
Right.
But now that you've reached that point, to me, that's a sort of crossroads. You've had a gun held to your head and you dared him to pull the trigger. Where the darkness and the brokenness that
the callousness that's
there.
Did you even did you recognize like I can't even, or was there nothing?
There was nothing.
Yeah.
Like there was nothing at that point. Like I don't know, it's almost like a switch.
Yeah.
And at some point you just go, I don't want to do this anymore. Yeah. And you just click it off.
Yeah.
And then that's it. And the way that you devalue yourself and your identity, because in my mind, I didn't have nothing to lose.
Or to live for.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you about that. Were you suicidal or what they call sometimes parasuicidal?
Not at that time.
Okay, but it's coming.
But I would get there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at that point, you were just like, that was just a tough response.
I had to be tough.
Yeah.
I had made such a name for myself. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm not even all the way to high school yet.
Yeah.
So there was no backing. There was a hardness.
Yeah, I have to tell you, I'm very curious about what happens between here and 18, because you're saying your addiction started at 18. In my hearing, we're already in it.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm very curious to see what happens.
When I think about it, I think about, like, I guess, harder drugs. But I mean, I was drinking and everything.
Yeah.
Getting up into my high school years, I was the wild one, the party girl. We're going, if there's a party, I'm there. And I was hanging out with military guys that were in school down here when they had the schools down here. And we're a group of teenagers hanging out with them. And that's what we were doing on the weekends. Yeah. You know what I mean? As everybody else is doing the regular high school stuff. I remember having a fake ID, and it was a military fake ID. So, like, we could go anywhere and do anything. And we did. Yeah. We partied and we partied and we partied for a bunch of teenagers. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know how I graduated high school.
But you did?
I did. Wow. I did. And I'm just shocked by that, because I really struggled, because I was trying to be the cute one, the funny one, the show off one.
Wasn't the priority, but
it was more like a social scene. Look at me, look at me. And I graduated high school, and then it was straight to the bars. And the coast used to have a lot of them. Yeah. And I was working in the bars at 18. And then, my drinking turned into a cocaine problem. And then my cocaine problem.
So the harder drugs, as you said, started after high school.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And to me, I'm a kid, I'm 18 years old. I don't have a drug problem.
Well, no, and I have forever to look at it.
Yeah.
I'm just having fun. I work in the bar. This is what we do. And I did that for a little while, and I met a guy in one of the bars, and I got pregnant. And I didn't find out that I was pregnant until I had a suicide attempt. And the suicide attempt was from finding out that he was married. And so I go to the hospital, for the suicide attempt that I almost completed. And they're pumping my stomach and everything. And then I find out that I'm pregnant. And I'm not a little pregnant. I'm like 4 months pregnant. And I had no clue, because
you were using the whole time.
Oh yeah. And so I, of course, sobered up. I did not I was still in the clubs, though. I wasn't drinking, I wasn't doing drugs, but I was there faithfully every weekend. And I didn't gain a lot of weight with her. And
was he involved after?
We were partying and everything else. And I go to the hospital, I have her, he shows up for the delivery, and then he doesn't come back. Okay. Which, to be expected, I was in way deeper than just that. There was a lot to go along with it,
But it's interesting that finding out he was married affected you the way it did at that time. I mean, I understand. Yeah. If you have a moral kind of sense of that, but at that time, it sounds like you're so hardened.
Right.
It's interesting that kind of pricked that for you, that consciousness.
I don't even know what set me over on that.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but I remember clearly, just
interesting.
Freaking out. You know, and
even in that,
I don't know if it triggered something or something there. Something triggered.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it struck me. But the enemy sends you people that will put you in your darkest places.
Absolutely.
And he put me in some dark ones.
Yeah.
Just bad. It was I was constantly fighting. I'm constantly fighting him. I'm constantly fighting her. It was overwhelming to be a new mom and you got all of this.
Yeah, I was just going to say, now you have a child. Does that help or hurt initially?
And she was born with club feet. And I truly believe it was because she couldn't grow in there. I didn't get very big. You know, I had lost so much weight. And so, like, that was rough.
Yeah.
But, you know, we got through her surgeries and this and that, and I was still using from the time I had her. Were you able to
achieve any sobriety once you found out you were pregnant, or did you continue to?
I did. I quit from the time I found out I was pregnant, like 4 months until I had her.
Yeah.
And it was a little while, but then she was not very old, and I was using and then trying to keep up. That's what I'm using to try to keep up. And
I think one thing that's really deceptive about addiction is when someone is able to stop using for a period of time, well, then they've taught themselves, or they think they have, like, well, if I stopped then, I can stop another time until they can't.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. I just got I never thought I could get to that dark place, but I was in a dark place. Yeah. And after I had her, I said it was just fighting. And then I decided I didn't want that for her anymore. And, but it didn't stop me. Like, I was in the bars. And I think I had her, I was 20 when I was pregnant with her. I was 21 when I had her. And I was probably 22 and pregnant again by somebody else. And I just kept thinking, what are people going to say? You have one kid you can't even take care of. And let me say, I left her all the time, like with my parents or whatever. I always had an excuse. I have to go for the whole weekend. Like, I did not need another child.
Yeah.
I struggled with what to do. And I was pretty late in the pregnancy, but I had to have my parents take me to Birmingham to have an abortion. And once again, we were shutting down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And here I'm driving with my daughter. I had to take her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So shut off right there. Any kind of like, you're failing, any of that automatic shutdown, like it never even happened. Because I'll just pretend like it never even happened.
Well, more hardening.
Yeah.
You just have
and
to harden to it.
If my parents hadn't had to take me, they wouldn't have known either.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Did they say anything?
Yeah, I mean, my dad did the whole, Nicole, what are you doing? But, there wasn't much you could say to me.
Was he still in his active addiction?
No, he was a little bit better. He didn't drink as much, but he could.
Yeah.
On the weekends or whatever. And we all just...
So he certainly wasn't in recovery. He was just managing.
Oh, no. He was, like drink on the weekends kind of, and he's older than, by the time I have my kids and everything. And it wasn't much longer after that. And I was hanging out at a bar in Gulfport and met a guy, and then I got pregnant again. And that is my daughter, Taylor, and she's my middle daughter. And, we move in together, and he takes care of my oldest daughter as his own. And I'm trying to do what's right because I've stayed sober the whole time. I'm pregnant with her, and I'm doing so good. And, being a mom of two little ones, 2 years apart, it's hard.
Before we go any further, let's take a minute to address the man or the woman listening to today's episode and wishing for a better life. Or maybe addiction has completely overtaken a family member or a friend.
You are not alone. As you may know, the Jesus Loves Addicts podcast is produced by the Home of Grace, a Christ-centered addiction recovery program in South Mississippi with over 60 years of experience.
The Home of Grace has residential programs ranging from 30 days to 12 months. With 2 separate campuses for men and women, they are fully staffed with caring individuals who want nothing more than to guide you to a life of recovery.
Services include individual and group counseling, marriage and family counseling, classes, workshops, GED, and workforce training, all grounded in biblical principles.
And because of donations from the community, the cost of the program is incredibly affordable.
Thousands of alumni from across the country can tell you there is no other program in the world quite like the Home of Grace.
If you want to start a new path to recovery, don't wait. Speak with an admission specialist today. Visit homeofgrace.org or call 833-55-GRACE to talk with someone.
That's 833-55-GRACE. Call the Home of Grace today.
And
trying to do what's right. How? Living with him, raising him. Okay.
Living with him. I get up.
The first
I'm doing the mom thing. I take care of the kids. He works in the bar.
Okay.
But yeah, so I'm trying to do the family thing because you got two kids,
but we're still doing it our way, right?
Yeah.
It's funny, right? We're doing the righter thing, but still not the right thing.
It's not the right thing because, then it's, now I can't go out like I was, but I can still go out. So if I go out, I better do it up.
Yeah. If I'm going, I'm going.
Yeah.
So rather than maintenance, it's now becoming a binge thing.
A binge thing, yeah. And then the binge thing turns into, my mom was really, really sick. She had rheumatoid arthritis. She had 2 open heart surgeries. And like I said, I took care of her most of my life. So even when I moved out, I was just across the yard so that I could take care of her because we never knew what her health was going to be like. But she faithfully got pain medication. And boy, could I play my mama. You know what I mean? And all it took was one time of her doing the same thing to me. I got a little ache or pain. Oh, well, take this. And then I wanted to take all of them, and I mean, if I could find out where they were, I'm stealing them. Or, it got really, and she wasn't going to say anything to me. And I was taking a lot of pain pills every day to the point that if I didn't take Pepto-Bismol and this and that, I would be in physical pain because I don't know what I did to my stomach. But I was just in pain from taking so many, and in my mind, it's the Tylenol. People have had
with codeine.
Well, the hydrocodone. It was the Tylenol. And I met a woman, and it took me off guard, but she had to have the majority of her stomach removed in her 20s.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was so painful, and I decided, one time, and my mental health was really, really bad too. I had to go get on a lot. They would put me on a lot of medication. I can't even remember. I've taken just about every mental health medication there is.
Were they were they just prescribing meds or anybody trying to actually?
I never saw a therapist until I was older. Yeah, much older.
They just that is just crazy to me.
Medicated away.
Yeah. And so, I'm on that, and then I decide, I don't even know what made me decide it, but I'm going to get clean. I'm going to get clean. And it was horrible. It was horrible. I detoxed at home, and my ex-husband was like, Nicole, never again. It was bad. And, I wish I could say that I stopped.
No.
Did you successfully detox? Did you actually get?
I did for a couple of months.
Yeah. So you successfully detoxed.
I did.
Managed to string together some
so
sobriety.
Horrible. And I've detoxed from a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But that was my worst one, I do believe. And I just remember how bad it was.
Yeah.
And my thing all the time is I'm trying.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to do the right thing. Yeah.
We'll say at least.
And I'd stop everything for a little bit, but it wouldn't last ever. And if it wasn't that, it was going to be something else.
Right.
Let me ask you something about that. That's interesting. So, because people will say that, right? I'm trying, and there's some legitimacy to that. I have no doubt that in your heart of hearts, you were trying. But typically at that stage, what that means is I'm just trying to stop something.
Yeah.
I have yet to figure out that to stay stopped, I need to then replace that and add stuff. I need to add good stuff in my life. When we say we're trying, all we're really trying to do is stop the bad stuff. Well, that's great. But if that doesn't get replaced with good stuff and a different focus that's only a relapse waiting to happen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And, in the first part of my addiction, when especially, with my kids and everything, I didn't have a problem. I could stop when I wanted to.
I can stop
until
anytime.
I couldn't.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But then I would lie to myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even
we got this under control. We'll do it a couple more times.
Yeah.
Well, and once somebody that has withdrew or detoxed fully from opiates realizes that it does end, that detox, that withdrawal doesn't seem as bad, because I know now that it does end. And if I did it once, I can do it again.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that when I just need to stop. Well, no, what we wanted to stop is the consequences.
That's true, too.
Well, and I'm convinced, too, that once you're telling yourself, I'm doing okay because I can stop whenever I want. If we're having that conscious thought, then we have a problem.
We have a whole problem.
There's a problem already.
But we're typically not telling the right people that are going to say, no, you've got a problem.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I knew that, too. I knew that if I went to certain people.
And you didn't go to them.
I would not.
Yeah.
Would not
because
go to
you
them.
didn't want to stop. You wanted the consequences to stop. I get that.
Right.
So you're married to this guy.
So my kids were probably 4 and 6 when we got married.
Okay.
It was a decision. It wasn't like, hey, like actually proposing. It was like more of a,
hey,
we should probably get married because the kids need insurance. You know what I mean? And I had set in my mind that I wasn't really for marriage anyway. It's not something that I desired. I felt like I was doing what was right and that he loved me.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't ever harm me. And, I kind of convinced myself on that. And our marriage was not okay. There was constant fights. There was addiction, on both sides.
On both sides.
There was gambling also.
On both?
No, I wasn't really into that until, later in my other part of addiction. But he was. And, there was just, it was turmoil all the time. Constant fighting. A lot of mental abuse.
Yeah.
A lot of, to the point where I don't know if I really did say that. Did I say that? Or did he say that?
Yeah.
And now I'm doubting everything.
I'm thinking you're crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. And then my mental health gets worse and worse and worse. I would get in these really deep depressions. I wouldn't eat for days. I wouldn't get out of bed. I wouldn't brush my teeth. I wouldn't shower.
So he was taking care of the kids, or was someone else helping out?
My mom would, yeah, absolutely. She would help me, anytime. But, it was constant. And I couldn't figure out why I was so sad, And then it's, okay, well, now we're back to, I can get some cocaine. You know what I mean? And then it's overtaking part of my life again. And it was just like a constant struggle, back and forth, back and forth. And then I started kind of convincing myself, like, is the depression because I'm not able to use? Like, so now I'm already in the mindset of doubting myself.
Yeah.
Right.
So now I'm doubting everything about myself.
Yeah.
And it got, kind of dark for a while.
Yeah.
And then I think my kids were, my girls were older. And then my oldest daughter was 10, and I got pregnant with my son. And I did really well, you know, in that pregnancy. I loved being home with him, you know, all of the good things. And I don't know at what point something was just, I had enough, but I told my husband that I'm leaving. You know, I can't do this anymore. And so I decided to leave, and I always, I care for everybody, right? So I'm like, you can stay here with my family, and I'll leave. You know. Interesting. And
So you guys were living with your family.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He, you know.
Did your family try to stop you from doing that? Like, you're leaving us with him. Where are you going?
Right. They didn't want me to leave, but like at this point, I'm so mentally overwhelmed. I take care of my parents. You know what I mean? I take care of them. I take care of the kids. I'm taking care of the husband.
And not you, and no one else is either.
No, and it's a lot, you know, and we've lost the home. We lost the home that we had across the yard. And so now we're all, I think there's 7 of us living in a 2-bedroom house. Ooh. Like, it was overwhelming.
I'm sure. So you're really just running.
Oh, I was as quick as I could get out, you know, and I hate to say that because I love my kids. Yeah. But, at that point, it was like there was nowhere I couldn't. Where am I going to? They're everywhere. And I was out. Yeah. I left him. You know, I had a job, and I, you know, went to work. I still did with the kids and stuff. And I want to say I went to a mental health appointment, and they gave me Adderall, which was the holy grail. Yeah. Right? Yeah. All this time, all these thoughts, all the things, like I've struggled my whole life. And then it was like, it all just went, this is what it needed. And that speedballed quickly, because if one works, surely more. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And now you can do all the things and feel motivated to do them. And it is such a lie. But you believe it.
I never would have thought I would have went to a place that I went just by taking some ADHD medication.
Well, I imagine a lot of people are watching, the ones that are watching this are hearing you going,
you know, like, and at first it was great until it was not. Right. And then it was real bad. Yeah. And here I, you know, and I'm already an addict. Okay. Yeah. And you just gave me something else. And again, no corresponding counseling going on. Just here's medication. Yeah. You know, fill out this thing, answer these questions, and you got it.
There you go.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And I am ADHD. But let me tell you something. I don't have to take anything for it. Yeah. Amen. You know? Yeah. But I was fully convinced because a doctor gave it to me.
I have to have it.
And I need this. Yeah. And, you know, it just got so out of control. Oh, yeah. And quickly. And quickly. And then, you know, I get an apartment. I'm hanging with a friend, and the kids are gone to their dad's for the weekend, and we're doing meth. Yeah. Just that fast. Sure. And, you know, and it's just, we're going to do a little bit. Until...
Well, if Adderall did it for you and the first time you tried meth, you had to have been thinking,
it was... I've arrived. And not even that. There was this... Something took over. With the meth? Oh, yeah. Yeah. For sure. Something took over. Because who I was, I've never been before. It was like, you know... At least before, I thought I could stop, but I knew I couldn't stop.
I doubted you wanted to at that point.
Even if I wanted to, I couldn't have. Yeah. Because I'd be like, okay, the kids are coming home this week. You got to get it together. And that was not happening. Would you use secretly while they were there now? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'd wait for them to go to school, or I've been up all night, you know, and then I take them to school, and then I got all the day. And it was It was
whether
not
you
okay.
use this term or not, at this point, you begin to realize that you're a slave to this.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. Hope you enjoyed part 1. Believe me, it's just getting started. So tune in next week for part 2. Thanks so much.